All right, Zach, thanks so much. It's time now to meet this week's perfect pet. Every Friday, we introduce you to an animal in need of a home. This week, it's Freddo. Look at that cute face. He has been in and out of the shelter 3 times in the past 4 months, simply because he's scared. He has a little separation anxiety. He's about 2 years old and will do just about anything for a treat. He is very dog friendly, but he does strongly bond to his people, so he would prefer to be the only one getting attention. Freddo would make the perfect project dog if you have time to devote building his confidence. If you're interested in meeting this sweet boy, he is at the Waco Animal Shelter. They're open from 11 to 6 today and 11 to 5 tomorrow. Come on, someone get out there and make this pup your forever friend.